The moment she said, "We're done," something in me didn't break. It went quiet instead. That silence scared me more than anything she could have said, because deep down I realized I wasn't surprised. Her name was Sloan Harrington, and for 2 years, she had been the center of my life in Scottsdale. We weren't dramatic. We weren't chaotic. We were stable in the way people assume means permanent. And maybe that's exactly why she decided to test it. I'm Ethan Calloway, and I had built my life carefully. A steady consulting job, a small but clean apartment in North Scottsdale, a routine that didn't leave much room for surprises. Sloan used to say she loved that about me, that I made her feel safe, that she never had to question where she stood. But somewhere along the way, safety stopped feeling like love to her. I just didn't know it yet. It started on a Wednesday evening that felt like every other Wednesday. I'd just gotten back from work, loosened my tie, and set my phone on the kitchen counter. She texted me, "Can we talk?" There was nothing unusual about that, but there was something about the timing, and something about how quickly the next message came. It's important. I called her instead of replying. She didn't pick up. Instead, she texted again. "I think we should end things. No explanation, no build-up, just a clean, surgical sentence." And then silence. I stared at the screen longer than I'd like to admit, waiting for the follow-up message that never came, waiting for context that didn't exist. And in that moment, I felt two completely different reactions trying to take control. One part of me wanted to panic, to call her again, to demand an explanation, to fight for something that had just been taken away without warning. But the other part of me stayed very still, observing, processing, not reacting, because something about it didn't feel real. Sloan wasn't impulsive. She wasn't cold. She didn't end 2-year relationships over text without context. That wasn't who she was. Or at least, that's what I believed. So instead of chasing her, I typed back a single message. "Okay." And I put my phone face down on the counter. That was the moment everything shifted, because what I didn't know was that I had just walked into a test I didn't agree to take. Across town, Sloan was sitting in her friend's apartment. Vivian Aldridge was beside her, watching closely. Vivian had always been persuasive, sharp, confident, the kind of person who didn't believe in emotional security unless it was constantly proven. She had planted the idea. If he really loves you, he'll fight. If he doesn't, you deserve to know now. Sloan hesitated, but doubt is a powerful thing, and Vivian knew exactly how to feed it. So they created the scenario, the sudden breakup text, the silence, the expectation that I would panic, that I would chase, that I would prove my love under pressure. But I didn't, and that's where the test started to fail. 10 minutes passed, then 20, then an hour. No calls from me, no desperate messages, no emotional outburst, just silence. Sloan's confidence started to crack. She sent another message. "You don't even care?" I picked up my phone and read it. And for the first time, I felt something close to clarity, because now it didn't feel like a breakup. It felt like a performance, and I had just been cast in a role I never agreed to play. I typed slowly. I care enough not to argue with someone who already made a decision. I pressed send and leaned back against the counter. That message hit differently than anything she expected. It didn't beg. It didn't chase. It didn't fight. It respected her words, even if they weren't real. And that's what made it real. Before we go further, pause for a second and think about this. If someone suddenly ends things with you without explanation, do you fight for them, or do you respect their decision and walk away? There isn't an easy answer here. Sloan read my message 3 times. Vivian frowned. "This is weird," she said. "No one reacts like that unless they don't care." But Sloan wasn't convinced, because she knew me, or at least she thought she did. So she pushed further. "After everything, that's all you have to say?" I stared at the message, and for the first time, I felt something stronger than confusion. I felt disappointment, not because she was leaving, but because of how she was doing it, and what it revealed about how little trust was actually there. So I replied, "You ended it. I'm respecting that. And if it wasn't real, then that says more than anything I could." That message broke the structure of the test completely, because now the roles had flipped. Instead of me proving my love, she was being forced to confront her own actions. Silence again, longer this time, then finally a call. I let ring once, twice, 3 times, and then I answered. Her voice wasn't calm anymore. Ethan, this wasn't supposed to go like this. There it was. The truth, slipping out without permission. I didn't interrupt her. I didn't react. I just listened. It was just a test, she said quietly. I needed to see if you'd fight for me. And for the first time, I felt something settle in my chest. Not anger, not heartbreak, just understanding. And maybe that was worse, because now I knew exactly what had happened and exactly what it meant. I spoke carefully. You didn't test my love. You tested my self-respect. Silence on the other end. I'm not going to fight someone who tells me they're done. Because if I have to convince you to stay, you've already left. Her breathing changed. I could hear the shift, the realization, the regret. But it came too late, because something had already changed inside me. This wasn't about the test anymore. It was about what made her think a test was necessary, and what that said about us, or what we thought we were. She tried to explain. It was Vivian's idea. I didn't think it would actually. I stopped her gently. It doesn't matter whose idea it was. You still chose it. That was the part she couldn't escape. Because influence doesn't remove responsibility. It just reveals it. We stayed on the phone for another 10 minutes. Not arguing, not blaming, just talking. And slowly, the truth unfolded. She had been feeling uncertain for months. Not because of anything I did wrong, but because stability started to feel invisible, predictable, easy to question. And instead of talking to me about it, she tested me. As if love needed to be proven under pressure to be real. Before we go further, be honest with yourself. Would you trust someone again after they tested your feelings like that? Or would something always feel off after? Because that answer defines what comes next. By the end of the call, there was no dramatic ending. No jilling. No closure speech. Just a quiet understanding. We didn't officially break up that night. But we didn't stay the same either. Over the next few days, we tried to return to normal. But normal didn't exist anymore. Every conversation felt slightly off. Every message carried a weight it didn't have before. Because once trust is questioned like that, it doesn't just reset. It lingers. And eventually, it changes everything. A week later, we met in person. Aqui é café. Neutral ground. No distractions. She looked the same. But something in her expression had shifted. Less certainty. More awareness. I messed up, she said. I nodded. Not as agreement. Just acknowledgement. I didn't trust what we had. And I tried to force you to prove it. I let her finish. Because this wasn't about winning. It was about clarity. I don't think I can come back from that, I said calmly. Her eyes didn't fill with tears. She didn't argue. She just understood. Because deep down, she already knew. The relationship didn't end because of the test. It ended because of what the test revealed. And sometimes, that's the difference people don't see. We parted ways without drama, without blame. Just two people who realized they weren't as aligned as they thought. And that realization, quiet as it was, changed everything.